want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad.
Welcome back to Hacks on Hacks, the media criticism podcast preferred by dozens of savvy listeners. I'm Sonny Bunch, executive editor of the Washington Free Beacon, and co-host of the Sub Beacon podcast. Joining me on my left, ironically, is Free Beacon senior writer Liz Harrington. Liz, how are you?
Good. How are you, Sonny?
I'm great. And joining me on my right again, ironically, is Free Beacon staff writer and noted squish, Alex Griswold. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm good, Sonny. How are you?
Once again, I'm fine. First up, an Intercept reporter demanded that Senator Dianne Feinstein resign after the California Democrat lectured a gaggle of school children who burst into her office and told her how to do her job. Let's listen to the clip that got Katie Aronoff so hot and bothered.
Government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all for the people.
You know what's interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was elected by almost 1 million vote plurality. And I know what I'm doing. So, maybe people should listen a little bit.
I hear what you're saying, but we're the people who voted you. You're supposed to listen to us. That's your
How old are
your
you?
job.
How old
I'm
are
16.
You?
I
well,
can't
you didn't vote for me.
Well,
Given all this hot left-on-left action, Liz, is it time to take a second look at Di-Fi?
Yes, she could be a front runner. She's certainly young enough to enter the Democratic.
right in the meaty part of the age curve.
Right. No, this video is amazing. I love this cult group, Sunrise Movement, that organized this. They tweeted it out to shame Di-Fi and instead made conservatives everywhere love her for the first time ever. And what's the offense here that she should resign for? Refusing to sign a fake letter about a fake resolution written by children?
She's not encouraging the children to, pursue their goals and their passions.
We need to crush the hopes and dreams of children more, I think, because they're becoming so entitled, and especially if those hopes and dreams are communist.
Alex, what was your favorite part of the video?
I think my favorite part was the beginning when the littlest kids were talking, and it was so obvious that they were going off a script and that it had been memorized. And Di-Fi just spoke across them and didn't give two damns about it. I'm going to disagree and say that this should not be about children. Senators should treat all people like this.
Yeah, right.
There's something so that I love about a senator just not giving a crap. And Dianne Feinstein can do it, obviously, because she just won re-election to a 6-year term, and she's ancient.
She says it.
So
right.
She's either not going to run for a re-election or die in office, so what does she care? How anyone votes. This is sort of more of what we need in Washington, is people who just don't give a damn about, the pageantry of it. And we'll just say, well, run for senator then, even though you're 16.
And also, frankly, don't give a damn about the activist press. Because in theory, this is something that, Dianne Feinstein, she should be worried because the left-wing press is mad at her about this. And she does not care. She doesn't care. And I have to say, I respect that. I don't agree with Di-Fi on too much, but I'm a big fan of how she handled this.
Right.
Yeah. And the activist left came at Feinstein and missed, essentially. Yes. They took a shot at the queen and missed. Yeah.
All right, next up, bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. Liberal writers have decided that there isn't enough to be angry about in our modern world, so they've decided to dig up some dead icons and desecrate their corpses. Following the resurfacing of a 50-year-old Playboy interview with John Wayne, who has been dead for 40 years, we should note, an LA Times columnist asked if it's time to take his name off of Orange County's airport. Meanwhile, The Guardian interviewed a bunch of people who aren't funny but claim to be comedians about the problematic nature of Bill Hicks, who died 25 years ago and punched down in his comedy. I'm very shocked by that. Let's listen to a clip of Hicks's thought crime.
I've been traveling. I've noticed a certain anti-intellectualism sweeping our world. I find quite frightening. I was in Nashville, Tennessee last year. After the show, I went to a Waffle House. I'm not proud of it. I was hungry. And I'm alone, I'm eating, and I'm reading a book, right? Waitress walks over to me. Hey, what you reading for? Sound like the weirdest question you've ever heard? Not what am I reading, but what am I reading for? Well, you stumped me. Why do I read? Well, I guess I read for a lot of reasons, and the main one is so I don't end up being a waffle waitress.
Alex, given your status as the show's resident cuckling, which dead cultural figure do you think we should cancel next?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, I was just reading today that it should be Dr. Seuss, actually.
Oh!
Yes, well, because he has all those racist World War II propaganda. Because it was World War II propaganda. Of course it was racist. You have to be racist against the Japanese and the Germans. The literal country was at stake.
He was doing this for the country. It's not like
for the U.S. government.
It's not like he was writing pro-Nazi pamphlets.
Yeah, but then there's also like a Chinese kid in the Mulberry Street one. So to which people say we should trash all Dr. Seuss, and I don't get it. The John Wayne thing I can almost understand because liberals have always hated John Wayne.
Yes. Well, this is I'm sorry to interrupt. There was a good tweet by a film writer named Glenn Kenny who said that it was passé to be trashing John Wayne in 1972.
Yes.
When this interview came out. I mean, he was reactionary for his time. He was anyway.
Yeah, but the Bill Hicks one kind of shocks me. Because he was very left-wing even at the time. He's still left-wing by today. It's like, I actually looked up his stance on gay rights, and this is his thought on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. This is how I feel about gays in the military. Anyone dumb enough to want to be in the military should be allowed in. Oh, the morale will be affected, and we're such moral. Excuse me, but aren't you a bunch of hired killers? You're thugs. You're going to go blow the F out of a nation of little brown people. I mean, that's his stance on the issue.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're going after essentially one of their own for a thought crime that was not that bad in 1990, I don't get it.
Yeah. Liz, can comedy be funny anymore? Is that allowed?
No. Absolutely not.
That was a leading question.
Cancel comedy.
I
mean, the people complaining in this Guardian article, Chloe Petz, who is co-founder of queer comedy collective, the LOL Word.
The LOL Word
does not sound especially funny, if you ask me. No, they're humorless scolds, and comedy used to be an escape from the world and politics and everything. Now everything is political, and you can't escape it. You turn on a TV show, it's some agenda trying to slam down your throat, and that's the comedy. I mean, that's what happens when your racist hate crime hoax falls apart. You need to go in the past and find racist stuff to be off about. When you don't actually have real systemic problems as a society, you have to go back and get outraged over people that have been dead for decades.
It is interesting. I don't want to suggest necessarily a correlation, but it is very interesting that this John Wayne interview resurfaced like right in the middle of all of this Jussie Smollett hoax thing. It was the timing.
Like, look over here, white men were bad,
The timing on that was pretty interesting. I am just glad that we're talking about John Wayne again. Everyone should go watch The Searchers. It's great.
I just saw that.
So good.
It is good.
So good. All right, finally a serious story. Jorge Ramos was detained in Venezuela after the Univision anchor dared ask that country's strongman, Nicolas Maduro, about the fact that his people were rifling through garbage trucks in an effort to find food. Here's Ramos on his harrowing story.
The interview with Nicolas Maduro, it lasted about 17 minutes. I think it was a strong interview. It was all right. But then I showed him the kits that you just showed on a garbage truck. And he just couldn't stand it. He stood up. He tried to cover the image so the cameras wouldn't be able to see it. And then I told him, Mr. Maduro, I didn't call him president, I called him Mr. Maduro, what are you doing? Why don't you answer the questions? What you are doing is what dictators do. And then he left. One of his ministers came back. They confiscated 4 cameras, Sean. They took our tape cards where we actually store the interviews, and then they detained us for 2 hours. They took away our cell phones, and at this point, we don't have the cameras, we don't have the interview, and they gave my cell back, although all the cell phones from my colleagues, they're still in Venezuela.
Liz, how dare Jorge Ramos remind Jim Acosta what it looks like to live in a country that doesn't have freedom of the press?
Right. I was wondering, has Bernie Sanders commented yet?
Bernie Sanders has been surprisingly good on the Venezuela thing, much to the consternation of Rose Twitter. We have to give him a shout out on this. He's
not really.
No.
What are you
we're
talking
not
about?
we're not allowed to give Bernie Sanders credit.
Bernie Sanders did like one tweet saying like Maduro was bad, and then Rose Twitter went after him.
Yeah, because he refused to call him a dictator.
But that's it.
And he stepped in
at his
it.
town hall, he's recently refused to call him a dictator.
That's what I was.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I was referring
all right,
to.
never mind.
So he's not
I take
good.
back. I give him credit for the one good tweet, and then demerits for everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost as if, though, tweeting about news organizations you don't like and coverage you don't like is a little bit different and not as bad as, socialist regimes that actually detain and put hoods over journalists' heads and take their equipment.
I mean, it is like, this is actually thuggish behavior. Why are we not? Why is this not the lead
And Trump's
story?
the one that's warning against becoming a socialist country.
Yeah.
Just saying.
This is why is this not the lead story on every network right now? Why are we knee deep in Michael Cohen again?
Well,
Yeah, you would think.
you'd think so, because
Well, it's not about Trump.
especially the way the media is with like perceived threats from Trump to U.S. reporters. They jump all over that, and that's headline news for weeks. You would think that being literally detained, literally kicked out of a country, should be higher up there. But it is sort of, I don't want to say it's a good thing to see this happen, but it is good to get a reminder of what real oppression looks like.
Yeah.
The sad fact of the matter is that when Trump oppresses, quote unquote, the press, it's mostly in rhetoric, and he doesn't really do anything. The worst he did was the exact same thing that Obama did, which was subpoena emails from a New York Times reporter. So, he's at least his equal. He's no different than any other president is.
I have to say, I do love all the various little weird facets of the Venezuela story. Like, for instance, director and professional conspiracy theorist Boots Riley is out there saying that the CIA is throttling his Twitter account because he is daring to question whether or not Ramos's footage was doctored and staged.
These are the same bots that are run by Mitch McConnell.
These are the same bots.
All the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
It's just amazing. Everything is fantastic. All right, now we turn to Hacks on Hacks producer and bon vivant, Andrew Kugel. Andrew, what do you have for us this week?
Yeah. Today I have one Democrat is apologizing for their Russia criticism of Mitt Romney. Yesterday at a House Intelligence Committee, Madeleine Albright, former Secretary of State under President Clinton, formally apologized to Mitt Romney for making fun of him in 2012 when he said Russia was our biggest geopolitical foe. She says the now Utah senator was persistent.
Was persistent? Prescient. Was it
Sorry.
prescient?
Typed it wrong. Maggie Haberman commented on Twitter to this, saying Romney was mocked as naive by Obama folks and some in the foreign policy community throughout 2012 for his answer about Russia as the biggest geopolitical foe. Good for Maggie Haberman pointing this out. I mean, Republicans...
A little late.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's been...
Can we get an apology from every Twitter journalist who was dunking on him in 2012 during the debate? Because that's what I want.
I want the Pod Bros and Obama himself to apologize.
I want a whole Netflix episode on Obama's dumb talk show about how he was wrong.
But not all reporters are apologizing. Mark Murray from NBC was kind of running defense, saying, but let's not forget that there was a different president of Russia through 2012, Dmitry Medvedev. Putin's intervention in Crimea, Ukraine, and elsewhere happened after he regained the presidency. I mean,
amazing. That is so amazing.
Yeah. He completely forgets the flexibility comment.
I'll transmit this to Vladimir.
Yeah, the Russian president in
Georgia, for that matter. Find someone who loves you as much as a journalist loves running interference for Obama on Russia.
Murray wasn't alone, though. Josh Marshall from Talking Points memo said, yeah, the Romney storyline is at best way, way, way overrated, saying Romney predicting everything about Russia is overrated story. These people still won't give Romney the credit that he was right.
Of course they won't.
I mean, even calling the comments a prediction, even calling it prescient, that still isn't giving Romney the full credit, because that suggests that he just saw how things were going to rather than he was right about what the actual
happening
facts on the
then.
ground were.
Yeah.
Right.
And another reporter said, people were criticizing Romney because he said Russia was our number one geopolitical foe when they thought China was at the time. But I remember in 2012, that wasn't the criticism of Romney. It was, he's another Cold War
figure.
figure.
It was the 80s call.
Yeah.
We want
and it was mocking. And so they're trying to rewrite it, saying like, oh, no, we had issues with him naming Russia as our number one foe.
No.
It really is
rewriting history.
Stunning to go back and read the transcripts of that debate where Obama is like, we have these things called aircraft carriers where planes land on.
Not horses and bayonets.
Submarines that go under the water. We don't need enough ships to
he's
patrol
so
the sea.
smug.
The bigger surprise,
and
though,
was
is
so wrong.
how Democrats have become Russia hawks all of a sudden. Like anything related to Russia, if you talk to someone who's Russian, you are now guilty of collusion. And the 180 is
pathetic.
amazing.
The 180. All right. What else? What else is going on?
Oh, yeah. I have NBC's Katie Tur hypes global warming alarmist book and saying we need to scare people. I believe we have a clip of her interviewing this David Wells, who writes for the New York Magazine. He's out with a new book warning about the potential catastrophic results of climate change in his new book, The Uninhabitable Earth. I think we have a clip of Katie Tur interviewing him.
Yeah, let's listen to the Katie Tur clip first.
It is much, much worse than you think. That's the first line of a new book explaining why you shouldn't just be worried about climate change. You should be hair on fire alarmed. A deadly increase in wildfires, water scarcity, drought and flooding, mass famine, mass disease, all potentially in the lifetime of your toddler. There's been a debate among environmentalists, among climate change scientists, and those talking about it, about how alarmist scientists should be about the pace of change and what could happen in the next 80 or so years. It seems like more scientists now are leaning towards that we need to really sound the alarm and we need to scare people.
Wow, that's a great question. Let's see how he answered that question.
It's Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Yeah. Mass hysteria. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Well, the children get it, in Di-Fi's office. They've been watching a lot of Katie Tur.
Again, I just don't know how she goes to work every day. She should be so depressed and like, what's the point? We're all going to be dead in 12 years. And
she needs help, I think. She needs to talk to someone about this.
We just need to pass the Green New Deal. Then she'll be fine.
She just watched First Reform is what happened.
Yeah.
Oh man!
I hope that joke makes sense. I didn't actually see it.
I could. It does. It's a good joke. Good. I could go on all day about this, but let's not.
I read Sonny's review. I got it.
All right. Everyone should be reading. If you haven't read my review, you won't get that. But if you read it, you'll be good. All right. Thank you, Andrew. That's great. Now we are headed to my favorite part of the show, the worsts.
The worst.
Liz, what was the worst tweet this week?
Okay, so Amy Klobuchar, there's been a lot of stories in the media about she's a tough boss.
Tough boss.
Right.
She's mean.
She,
people say she's mean.
She throws binders, she eats salads with a comb and then makes you clean it.
She throws full binders at women.
Right.
Bringing
not
it back,
binders,
bringing it back
not
to
binders
Mitt Romney.
full of women. Exactly. So anyway, this has been going around a lot. A lot of people have opinions, including politics editor for Vox, Laura McGann, who says, this is her tweet, "A number of people have raised how Klobuchar's behavior would be received if she were a husband treating her wife this way. It would be considered controlling. Here's the difference. She is a boss. She is in charge. Working for someone is not about being an equal partner." So, there's a lot to unpack there. I don't even know how you get there, honestly. It's so weird.
Alex, what's your favorite part of that tweet?
My favorite part of that tweet is apparently Vox writers have to be put up with constant abuse, having things thrown at them, and then at the end of the year, they don't even get booze at the Christmas party. I mean, gosh, why even bother?
Yeah.
Doesn't that go against their whole belief, though, that like workers should be as equal as like the bosses and have a say in how stuff is run?
What do the journalism unions make of Amy Klobuchar? If you walked into the BuzzFeed newsroom and Ben Smith started chucking coffee mugs at people. Would that pass muster with the guild?
So, and then she kept doubling down on it, and she got ratioed every time. It's kind of
fantastic.
Funny. But anyway,
the self-perpetuating ratio is one of Twitter's great.
It is.
Things. No, seriously, guys, this is my point.
So yeah.
All right. Let's see. Now, Andrew, we have another vintage TV clip this week. Could you give us some background on this?
Yes, it's MSNBC anchor Stephanie Ruhle. She's been in the news recently. Last week, Wall Street Journal reported that she and Under Armour CEO Kevin Plank have a relationship in the sense of that Plank asked Stephanie Ruhle about business advice. They go on his private plane and discuss business. It's very...
That's an
very
interesting
suspect.
relationship.
But the clip we're about to play is a clip from 2016 where she was hawking Under Armour shoes and didn't disclose the relationship, which was ongoing at the time.
Oh, interesting. Let's listen to that.
So Under Armour released Steph Curry's new shoes this week. They're we've actually got a picture.
Here we go.
Yeah. So these are the Curry 2 Low Chef sneakers. The two-time MVP's kicks instantly became the butt of Twitter jokes because, according to a lot of folks, they look eerily similar to dad's shoes.
I really like this shoe.
I think they look like ladies' shoes.
That's not a compliment. That's not a compliment for the.
Do you know what it is? I would wear them. Is what I'm saying.
I don't think you're the market, so that may be a bit of a problem.
Twitter killed these shoes, calling them the Metamucil 6s, the Shuffleboard 7s, but they look an awful lot like a classic Nike or a New Balance. That's a mass market shoe. This is the black taxi.
This is what he was wearing during the games. This is what he goes from this to this. So naturally some folks are upset.
I think that's why they're the pushback. When you think about a Steph Curry shoe, a basketball shoe, it's hot, it's sexy. It's just in time for Father's Day, Dad.
Is that wrong? If she has this relationship with the Under Armour CEO, should she disclose maybe that fact while she's on air flacking for terrible, ugly shoes?
It would be wrong if she was a journalist. I mean, she's a
sick bird.
I can't respect it. She's making the money.
She's making those dollars.
Yeah, which everyone loves. Every news anchor would love to be advisor to someone in power. I mean, look at how they're all jealous of Sean Hannity having the influence on Trump, and they all wish they had that type of influence over someone who matters. Because their show doesn't matter.
Yeah, nothing we do matters.
Yeah,
nothing. Thanks. Now I'm in a bad place.
Andrew, you and Katie Tur, gosh.
Just thinking about all the things that I do that don't matter in any given day. All right, great. Alex, what was the worst Prince story of the week?
The worst Prince story of the week comes to us courtesy of the Washington Post, and it is headlined, and I quote, "At Deadspin, can the cool kids of the sports internet become its moral authority?" The cool kids.
Cool kids.
Has there ever been an unironic use of cool kids that turned out to be correct ever?
Aren't you an internet cool kid?
Yeah.
That's exactly my point.
As an internet cool kid, you would know.
Yeah. As an internet cool kid, they are not
so can
in the
they?
circle.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Can you? What are some of the highlights of this piece?
I will read. These are all quotes from Deadspin staffers, including their editor-in-chief. When explaining that she lives in Brooklyn's Williamsburg neighborhood, she added, "But the part where lots of Puerto Rican families live."
I was hoping you were going to build to this, Alex.
Are you serious?
I'm going in chronological order. This is the one they hit you with out of the gate.
It's the greatest quote ever.
Oh my god!
In a story, it's the most
so on the nose,
self-revealing quote ever given by a person. All right, go on.
She continues. She said, "I've always wanted Deadspin to do the fun and silly." I'll intercede by saying, for those who remember, Deadspin used to basically be Barstool. And that's part of the larger part of the WAPO pieces. They've eventually become more sort of...
Could you explain what
scolds.
Barstool is?
Barstool is a sort of bro-y sports site. Very popular, very much on the rise. Because it's a dude website.
Dude site.
It's a dude site, essentially.
But that's problematic now.
Very problematic.
In 2019.
Bill Hicks would have made a lot of fun of Barstool, probably.
To which she says, the internet is dramatically less fun. And then she added, "Trump ruined everything."
What?
Barstool.
They're blaming Trump? Oh my
Barstool ruined everything.
God.
And then to cap it off with one more quote. This one's from a Deadspin reporter. "Deadspin caters to the smartest people," she said. "It is the people with the best sense of humor giving you the smartest takes."
God, that's like the worst. It's
insufferable.
It's like
a parody.
It's like they looked at Vox's motto and were like, "How could we make this douchier?"
Right.
Can we make this the Hacks on Hacks mottos? We cater to the smartest people. We're the people with the best sense of humor, giving you the smartest takes.
God.
Taylor, we cater to the most smartest.
Most smartest. All right, thank you, Alex. That piece was, in fact, terrible. Everyone should read it. It's really bad. All right, and of course, we at the Free Beacon are not perfect. We make mistakes. We screw up. This week, the worst of the Beacon was Alex Griswold.
Yes, I was.
Alex wrote a jokey blog post about Dummycrats, the documentary by Diamond and Silk about... Well, I'll let you guess what Dummycrats was about. One cat was not amused, you guys. They churned out a 1,600-word story about how actually...
That was 1,600 words?
1,600 words. 1,600-word story about how actually the Diamond and Silk documentary wasn't even eligible for the Oscars this year. And you stupid conservatives are mad about nothing at all.
I'm a little offended that you said this was a jokey piece, Sonny. This was 100% my dead serious view.
I take it
As
back.
one cat.
It is 100% my view that Dummycrats is the most authentic take, and I'm quoting here, on the modern black experience that came out in 2018.
I like that they included a picture of you.
Yes, thank you.
They're trying to shame you.
They're trying to say that you, Alex Griswold, a person of color.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, the color is...
Are you going to
slightly
respond?
off-white, but it is still a color.
Are not allowed to discuss the African American experience. Anyway, as a film critic myself, frankly, I was similarly outraged by Alex's blog post. Doesn't he understand that the Oscars are nothing to joke about? Not when this venerable institution is handing out multiple trophies to Green Book and Bohemian Rhapsody, two of the greatest films made last or any other year. For shame, Alex. For shame. You were the worst.
I'll take it.
All right, that's all the time we have for this week. Make sure to review us on iTunes. Tell your friends that we exist. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you. See you guys next week.